What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of my pathetic life as a homeowner. A quick video in this one, and it's kind of piggybacking off of one of my other videos with the surface cleaners. I had the question asked of how to replace the bearing, so I'm going to walk through the steps on replacing the bearing on a Karcher surface cleaner. Disclaimer, I had a bit of a rough weekend. I am in recovery mode, as in those chairs all got broken this weekend. There's quite a bit of celebration of life happening with a shitload of millers. So yeah, I'm gonna try to make it through this video, but I'm not sure how much energy I have to actually make it. So anyways, let's get going on this. This is what we're gonna need. First things first, I need a beer to help me get rid of some of my shakes. So cheers, let's start with that. Then next, we got our Karcher Surface cleaner. Like I stated in the previous video, I love this thing because it's cheap as hell and you can replace that bearing. So that's why I recommend these. And if you want to watch that video comparing another one that I used, that'll be linked in the description or somewhere on the screen. Next thing, bearing. Next thing, snap ring tool. This is an ancient one I've had forever. I will post a link to everything I'm trying to use here, or everything that's relevant, in the description to get you to where you need to go. You'll need an Allen key. I can't remember what size it is, but if you have a pack of Allen keys, you're probably gonna figure that out. Only realistically need one screwdriver, a pretty thick one, hopefully. And I'll show you what we're gonna do with that later. Hammer to get the bearing out. And then a vise. The vise isn't necessarily needed, but I use the vise to kind of help me through all of this. So let's get started. We need to disassemble this part, all right? First thing you're gonna disassemble is there's gonna be a little Allen head screw right here. We're gonna be taking that out, so let's take that out. All right, this is out. This you can put aside here somewhere. Now you're gonna pop this out, and it just pops out like that. I'm gonna put that aside. Now we're gonna take this plastic nut off. There's two, one on top and bottom. Take this one off, put that aside, and this thing pops out like this. So this is where we're at right now. Now I'm gonna take this one off as well. Boom. And we're left with this assembly. So now you're gonna notice here, I'm gonna try to fucking zoom in here a little bit with a GoPro, which is impossible to do. There's a snap ring right there. So there's gonna be, this is the first of two snap rings. So we're gonna try to get that off. Now this is a bit tricky. You're gonna use your snap ring tool to get this off. And then we're gonna go from there. So I'm gonna probably skip ahead here because I'm gonna have a huge battle with this thing. Because this tool is getting really ancient. But yeah, let me show you when I get it off. All right, so you can see the snap rings taken off, and then I'm just gonna slide it out. It's a bit of a pain, but you get it out. There you go. So that's aside. So now this is so the snap rings out of the place, and I can kind of get the bearing out. I've already taken this bearing out, and I'm gonna replace it with a new one. But the easiest way to do that is to go like this and pull the bearing out. Just like that. All right, so the bearing is out, but it's still assembled to this thing. And then there's another snap ring right here that we gotta take off. So this one's the inverse of this one. So for example, this one you have to squeeze. This one you gotta pull apart. So my tool here, this ancient artifact, you can switch between the inverse to do that. So I'm gonna switch back to here like this, and then I'm gonna pop this ring off. There we go, that's off. All right, now it's time to get this bearing off, and this is where my vise comes in, where I'm using a vise. I mean, you can maybe figure something else out, but first of all, I'm gonna close it up. Put a foot on it, tap it out. All right, bearing is off. In the process, you end up destroying this bearing. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you got spare bearings before you jump into it. Time for new bearing. And the process basically repeats in reverse. So this bearing should slide on. It's gonna be a little bit tough, but so I got it on that much. I still gotta keep going here. So I'm gonna put it on top of my vise here and just kind of tap it down. I gotta get it further, so I'm gonna open this vise up. I just tap slowly to try not to do everything you can not to mess the bearing up. So all right, that's in like that. Brand new bearing. Time to put this back on, which is always a pain in the ass. That's on. Looks good. Now we go back into the housing, which is right here. If you want, you can clean that up, but I'm just gonna push it in as far as I can. And that squeezes in right there. And now I can put this back on. This snap ring goes in. I just gotta set it. And this is a little bit pain in the ass with these old school snap rings. Snap rings in, I'm just gonna roll basically the screwdriver across the whole thing just to make sure it's seated correctly. And it looks seated correctly, and then bam, our bearing assembly is in, and we just basically reverse everything. So I'm gonna put this plastic cap here. It goes in like that. This goes in here. Oh, that's stupid of me. Just dropped it. Like that. This goes back in like this, and then this goes in like that. Bam, that's it. It's a super simple job. There's a little bit of finickiness to it, but you can handle it in under one beer. I'm off to get another beer. Like, subscribe, buy a shirt if you want. Till next time, have a good one. Cheers.